The Edmonton police went viral on the weekend, but perhaps for all the wrong reasons. Here to explain it all is Dave Naylor, chief editor of the Western Standard. Dave, what happened there?
Well, they put out a tweet on the weekend that showed their hate bus, for lack of a better word, a big city bus with the wrapping around it, promoting people to snitch on their neighbors if they are offended by a joke somebody tells, or they're offended by a Facebook posting that somebody tells. Edmonton police say, please snitch on your neighbor. Now, when I was a younger man, the motto was snitches get stitches.
Right.
And nobody really likes a snitch, and the politicians were quick to jump in. Premier Danielle Smith says she will do everything in her power to protect free speech. And the public safety minister, Mike Ellis, also jumped in and said, hey, police, why don't you concentrate on things that matter? Things like murder and arson and vandalism and shoplifting. And he's going to write to all the police chiefs and say, don't follow Edmonton's lead. It is a bit silly. I mean, everybody knows somebody who may have made what they would consider an offensive Facebook posting or an offensive tweet, but there's no crime against that. Canada is protected by free speech laws. Obviously, if somebody is posting, hey, let's all go kill this guy, then that crosses the line, and that deserves a visit by a couple of coppers. But to expend all this time and money to encouraging people to snitch is not going to end up well. And in fact, we called the Edmonton Police Service on it, and they said at this time we refuse comment. So I think somebody up there who made that tweet is going to get their hands slapped a little bit.
Right, so the Edmonton police has a snitch line, literally, and it started with the chief, or do you think it started with city council or the mayor? Because isn't really the mayor the boss of the police chief?
Yeah, it's the police commission, and that's where this started from, is one of the questions that needed answering. But Edmonton Police Service, as I just mentioned, is refusing comment. But to put in a unit like a hate crimes unit specific section, that would have had to have at least had the chief's approval, I would think. But whether it was a directive just from the chief's office or a directive from the police commission, we don't know yet.
All right, interesting. I guess time will tell on that. It's hard to believe that they had a bus going around advertising this.
It hasn't gone well in other countries either, Jeanette.
Yes, I was going to ask about that.
England had a disaster with this, where they had to empty out their jails and free murderers and rapists just to put in grandmothers who had made nasty Facebook comments. And it was ludicrous. Police were showing up at doors and hauling people away, and literally jailed people by the hundreds because of nasty Facebook pages. Now, some of them, it's basically all driven by the migrant problem that they've got in the UK, and a lot of it is people were saying, "Hey, all the migrants are now in this hotel in this town," and then the hotel would get surrounded and mobbed and potentially set on fire. So that kind of stuff you can understand, but just posting, "Go back to your home country," to me doesn't seem a problem, but it gets you arrested and jailed in England. So if Edmonton's looking
and now in Edmonton.
Yeah, if Edmonton wants to go that way, I don't think they're going to have the support of the Alberta government.
Right. Obviously not the first time police are warning about arrests for social media, as Edmonton is taking sort of following that lead from other countries. Okay, let's move on to national politics now with a provincial overlap. So Premier Danielle Smith is taking some heat from some people within her own party after a press conference in Red Deer with Prime Minister Mark Carney. Dave, what happened?
Well, you remember back in the Jason Kenney era, there was a referendum on equalization. And I think it was about 66% of Albertans said, we want out. We should end this program. So that was the mandate that the Alberta government had at the time. Danielle Smith was at a press conference in Red Deer this week on housing, but she was asked about equalization by Western Standard reporter Will Vassar. And she replied, well, thank you for the question. Now I can lobby the Prime Minister because he was only 2 feet behind her. But the answer did not go as far as a lot in her party would have hoped she would. She basically said she's been lobbying all the premiers, she's been lobbying the Prime Minister, and there was a First Minister's meeting recently down east. But it's I think that she's not putting in too much of an effort at the moment because she knows there's no chance of it ever happening. If you are a province receiving equalization, why would you want to stop it? Of course you don't. That's why Quebec's got better social programs than Alberta because of all the money Alberta sends them in equalization. So it's just ridiculous. But uh, Daniel Smith realizes that at this point, now is not the time to put all her cards on the table and fight with it, especially when she's trying to push through a pipeline deal and a whole bunch of other stuff with the feds. Now, interestingly, this week the West Coast pipeline was passed to the Major Projects Office. So that is now being reviewed with a report coming out, I believe, after September 18th, when the commenting section is done. But yeah, the chance of equalization changing is very slim. Our Ontario reporter Jeff Knight asked the Prime Minister in Toronto this week, "Hey, what about it? You going to change stuff?" And he said, "No. Basically, things are as is." And it's open for look-see in 2029, so another 3 years from now. And again, it's not going to change because there's going to be no agreement on it. So Alberta is going to be stuck, feeding the trough in Quebec and some other provinces for a long time.
So it's an equalization non-battle with Carney, basically. Yeah. All right. Dave, the last time that we spoke, there was a massive search in Calgary for a missing 11-year-old autistic boy named Parker, and we all know by now that it didn't have that miracle, happy ending that we had all prayed for. His body was located about 2 weeks later, unfortunately.
Yeah, a terrible, terrible tragedy, Jeanette. What had happened was he somehow escaped, for lack of a better word, from the specialized daycare that he was at, and worked his way into an area where there was a culvert and a whole bunch of other tunnel type things, which he went into, and basically ended up getting stuck and dying in the tunnel. Many questions remain. We've asked the city, why wasn't there a grate in front of that culvert and in front of the tunnel? They said, well, we're reviewing the situation. Why was it missed during the police search? The police are reviewing that. But it was, amazing to see the city come together and thousands of people turn out to try and find this little boy. The police chief, Katie McClellan, she's a 30-some-year veteran, and she says she's never seen anything like it. Last night in front of Calgary Municipal Building, about 1,000 people turned up for a vigil for Parker. Everybody was encouraged to, bring a card telling them what Parker meant to them and sign sheets of memoriam, which will be passed on to Parker's parents. And the Mayor Farkas spoke, and favorite Disney songs were sung, and people were openly weeping, in the crowd. Very, very sad scenes, traumatic scenes. The The parents of Parker, while not there, sent a tape-recorded message thanking everybody for helping in the search for their missing boy. So a lot of emotion last night in front of Calgary City Hall, Jeanette, and the story is not going to go away. There is going to be those answers we'll be demanding from City Hall, and trying to find out just exactly what happened at that daycare, and probably some lawsuits at the end of the day.
That's what I was wondering too, because it kind of looked like Parker just sort of walked away from that daycare. Do we know anything about that?
All we know is he got away, and the police say the daycare phoned quite quickly. They won't say how quickly they phoned yet. But this is a specialized daycare with specialized kids. They are supposed to be watching these kids closely because they have the disabilities like Parker had. And for a child of that, he operates on a 2-year level. He's nonverbal, and he's able to escape the daycare. I would be hiring a lawyer day one because it's inexcusable, and they should have their license pulled.
Yeah, I mean, we will see what happens with that. I was going to mention too, it's wonderful that the city came together for that community vigil last night. And I understand, I mean, in addition to honoring Parker, it was also for the thousands of volunteers who spent hours and hours searching to bring this little boy back home to his family. It's just wonderful. Like you were saying, what the police chief said that she'd never seen.
Yeah, there was estimates of some 10,000 people who had volunteered. That's just incredible. And to walk around the neighborhood trying to retrace his steps. Facebook posts and pages were set up dedicated to Parker and organizing searches. The official Calgary Search and Rescue unit was out there for days. Police on horseback, and it was a massive search effort. Probably the biggest search in Calgary history, and as mentioned, it didn't end in the miracle we were all hoping for.
Exactly, and he's sort of become Calgary's child now. And prior to this vigil, I understand a community memorial was set up, like a memorial site was set up in a Calgary park where people could go and leave messages and flowers and toys, and maybe tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's the thing to do these days is to lay flowers at public sites of when someone dies or something like that. And I think at the end of the day, maybe the park nearest Parker will be named after him. That way nobody will ever forget about him, and his story will remain in our hearts forever.
That's beautiful. Dave Naylor, Chief Editor of the Western Standard, thanks so much for joining us today.